Hello and welcome to my channel. Today is going to be a chatty video. I really want to talk about what's going on with all of the sales. Now, I really like myself a good sale, and my channel is called Savvy Luxury, and that's because I really want to be smart about my luxury purchases, and I do not want to spend more money than I have to. However, what prompted today's video is that a couple of days ago, I looked at my Theresa website and they are currently running a promotion of an additional 20% of the sale items if you spend 600 US dollars or more. That's great, right? Just another promotion. But the reason I decided to film this video is because literally just a couple of weeks ago, my Theresa had a different promotion where they had an additional 30% off select sale items and you needed to spend 350 US dollars or more. That's on the My Theresa US based website. And that promotion of an additional 30% came after a promotion of an additional 20%, which came after a promotion of an additional 10%. So, looking at all of this, I'm just kind of asking myself, why do we actually have a sale on top of a sale of all of these different luxury items? And obviously, if we look just beyond the My Theresa website, Farfetch, another one of my favorites, is right now running a promotion where you have an additional 20% off sale items. And they are marketing this as basically end of season sale, sort of the final sale. If you look at 24S, which is another big retailer, online retailer for luxury fashion, they also have an additional 20% of their sale items. And then, of course, websites like Luisa Via Roma or S Sense, they also are running a sale, but at least at the time of filming, they do not have any additional percentages off or any additional promotions on top of the existing sale. However, the reason I really wanted to talk about all of this stuff is because, generally speaking, when it comes to luxury, we are talking about increasing prices, we are talking about kind of inflation, and we are talking about massive price increases, especially in some brands. But at the same time, if you look at the end of season sale, it seems we have a sale on top of a sale on top of another sale, and there is always some kind of promotion running out there, which is actually helping you to save money on some of these items. So, what's the deal here? Well, the first point I want to talk about here is that all of these sales are clearly showing us that not all luxury brands are created equal. Now, we know that Chanel and Dior and Hermes and Celine and things of this nature, they really stand apart from all the luxury brands and they do not participate in sales. And many of them we actually cannot buy on these online platforms like My Theresa, Farfetch, 24S, S Sense, and so on and so on. However, even beyond that, there is still a delineation between luxury brands that becomes even more visible during the sales. For example, if I look at sales and promotions, I can always find a ton of Versace ready to wear. And yes, in reality, what it does is it kind of devalues the brand a little bit in my eyes. Basically, if I can get something on sale, I know that there is just never really a point to pay full price for Versace. And that includes not only ready to wear, but also things like handbags and shoes. By comparison, if I take something like Fendi and Saint Laurent, I can actually find some of these items on sale and even with additional promotions on websites like Farfetch and My Theresa, but those items are just not as common. And in the case of Saint Laurent, for example, I can usually only find ready to wear on sale. So once again, this kind of signals me that this is maybe a higher quality brand, and therefore, especially if I'm looking at shoes or at handbags, it actually makes sense to buy them full price. Should be a note made here that some of the handbags from Saint Laurent have recently dropped in price, but that's really a different conversation for a different video. I mean, even moving further, if we look at Valentino, which is such a big luxury design house, once again, if we look at sales and some of these final promotions, we can find ready to wear, but also shoes and handbags. And once again, this does signal something about this particular brand. Now, in comparison, of course, something like Valentino is much more expensive to begin with as compared to Versace, for example. So maybe in that sense, the brand still manages to keep some kind of level and some kind of position. But if you look at a lot of contemporary brands, and this could be Jacquemus, Dion Lee, all of them end up in sale, all of them end up in this kind of additional final promotions. And once again, it's not just the ready to wear, but also the shoes and the handbags. And even though those brands to begin with are not, let's say, the highest luxury brands, the fact that they end up in all of the sales just kind of further takes away maybe from the value of these items and from the value of the brand. So I think one of the first things that sales does to me at least is I start categorizing the items and I start categorizing the brands into these different tiers. And based on that, I become less or more likely to purchase certain items from certain brands. By the way, my name is Lisa, and I'm your guide to savvy luxury shopping no matter where in the world you are. Subscribe to my channel to learn more about strategic luxury shopping with the emphasis on quality and timelessness of your items. So, the second point I want to mention is just the value of luxury items. I mean, if the retailers and the brand, if they're actually making money after something is discounted 70% and then an additional 20% is taken on top of that, they're still making money. So, what is actually the value of that particular item to begin with? And if that value is actually so low, once again, why would we ever pay the full price? Why would we ever even look at paying something like 50% off or 30% off if we actually know that certain items could be sold still with a profit, or at least I assume they are sold still with some kind of profit when they are 70% off plus, let's say, an additional 10, 15 or 20% off. So obviously seeing so many designer items on constant sale kind of makes me really question what is actually the value of those items to begin with. And it definitely puts this thought in my mind that I should never be looking at paying full price for anything unless we are really talking about top tier brands. So brands like Chanel and Hermes. And interestingly enough, it actually pushes me more and more to look closely into those brands. I filmed a shopping vlog at Hermes, and I actually am going to link it up here for you as well. But increasingly, I become more interested in luxury that kind of seems to maintain its value, luxury that doesn't go on sale at a 70, 80% off and any additional promotions on top of that. So I think in a way, all of these ongoing sales are actually kind of devaluing the value of luxury items in the mind of a consumer. The next point I want to talk about is the fact that maybe online retail for e-luxury is actually really quite saturated. And all of these retailers, all of these websites are actually fighting for maybe a fairly small audience of consumers. And to me, this is an interesting point because of what we've seen with Matches Fashion that went out of business just recently. And even without Matches Fashion, we still just have so many choices when it comes to luxury retail online. But at the same time, I actually heard somebody say somewhere that maybe luxury retail online is actually really not that popular because when people are spending that much money on an item, it is always preferable, And I would agree, I just don't necessarily have the chance to do so. But it is always preferable to actually go to the store, try something on, have that experience, be able to touch the item, understand how the item feels, how it sits, how it's constructed, how it's cut, and then make a purchase based on that physical experience. It's much more difficult to get the same experience when we are buying something online. And in a sense, it also takes away this moment and this experience of luxury because we don't have a chance to be in a boutique. We don't have a chance to actually maybe get a water, a coffee, a champagne, to get into a very nice dressing room and actually experience all of that. So maybe online luxury retail is actually oversaturated because there are just so many websites and retailers out there, as well as direct websites from, particular brands like Gucci.com and Dior.com and so on and so on. So maybe the marketplace is just so saturated that in order to attract a customer, these websites are running additional promotions and additional percentages of something that is already on sale because they just have so much stock that, quite frankly, maybe nobody is really buying. And we also should not forget that in the current economic conditions, people are just spending less money. So a sale on top of a sale maybe becomes an additional incentive for people to actually go ahead and buy something online. But maybe we are really looking at a time when people are spending less and less on luxury, once again, because of the current economic conditions. And all of these retailers, all of these websites are actually fighting for the remaining consumer and getting them to spend by initiating these additional discounts and additional promotions. From my personal perspective, for me, getting to buy something on sale used to be a little bit of a sport, right? It was so fun to get something nice, something interesting, something that I really liked at a very good discount. But the sport becomes less and less interesting when there are just more and more items to buy, and it almost seems like it really doesn't matter anymore. Pretty much anything out there, again, from the majority of luxury brands, unless we substitute things like, Chanel, Dior, Hermes, Celine, etc., it seems that almost anything out there could be bought on sale or even potentially at an outlet the next season. So for me, it just kind of does take the fun a little bit out of shopping the sale because it's no longer the hunt for anything interesting. It's just something much more mundane because pretty much everything is out there on a sale with an additional percentage off. Also, from personal perspective, I sometimes actually wish that maybe designer and luxury prices were actually more realistic to begin with. So instead of putting everything on sale all the time, could we actually have the original price that is perhaps a bit more reflective of what these items should actually cost? And in that case, maybe none of us would have to kind of sit around here, look at sale items, look to get something at a good discount, but instead we would be just more freely buying items maybe day to day because there would be an understanding that at the end of this season these items are not going to be devalued to the point that they are going to be 80, 70% off with some kind of additional discount on top of that. All right, thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know, what do you think about all of the sales that are going on? I mean, are you participating in these sales? Are you trying to get yourself a good deal? Were you able to find something that you really liked and that you were pleased with the price of? Please share your experiences in the comments down below. Next, also consider watching this video right here. This was the first video that I ever filmed on this channel, and I'm talking about the items, the luxury items, that I think you should buy on sale. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for returning to my channel. Take care and bye bye.